Jack Rathbone scored the second goal of his NHL career since being called out from the AHL in his first game. The Dallas Stars need to be one of best teams in the Western Conference with a top 5 goal difference in NHL. But on Saturday night in Dallas, Stars' light looked very dim as they struggled to collect everything against a team that was far below the standings Vancouver Canucks. To be fair, this isn't same Canucks team whose terrible start landed them in the basement of Western Conference. These Canucks were revived under a new head coach, who defended and attacked them as a unit. These Canucks are back to elite starting goalkeepers. These Canucks don't have the boat anchor of an overpaid defender on the roster. The Stars didn't quite match up against these Canucks. The teams that give the Canucks the most trouble attack with speed and aggressive forward control, giving them no time to escape. This isn't the Stars, who are a little more methodical in their approach. The Canucks have methodically matched the Stars on every spin, and have progressed steadily and somewhat uneasily to their third consecutive win against the Stars this season. Helped by a squishy schedule, the recovering Canucks are 8-2-0 in their last 10 games, with 10 games remaining on schedule. If they achieve the same record in their last 5 games, they will finish the season with a record 41-36-5 with 87 points. Without anyone asking, no, that won't be enough to make it to the playoffs. Winnipeg Jets, currently in the second wild-card spot, already have 85 points. But he could place them 20th in the NHL. This is important because it would give them the 13th best odds in the draft lottery. The team with 13th best odds had won the draft lottery before, or at least was one of winning teams. In 2017, the Philadelphia Flyers saw their numbers dwindle and moved up from 13th overall to second place. However, according to the new draft lottery rules introduced in 2022, teams can only move up a maximum of 10 places by winning the draft lottery. This means that if Canucks continue running to close season and finish 20th in NHL, they won't get first overall pick, or even second overall pick after all. Win the draft lottery. Given Canucks' bad luck history, it's fitting that once they win draft lottery, it's only time they haven't won first overall pick. They're trying to build a culture. Rick Tocchet wants to instill their own values in the players and prepare them for the off-season. Their best players spend huge minutes chasing moral victories, fighting tooth and nail to win every game. It better be worth it. Jack Rathbone, who had multiple injuries on the blue line, was called up from the Abbotsford Canucks. His icing time was extremely limited, only played 914, and he was protected from the Stars' first 2 lines, but had a strong game despite these warnings. It's not just because he scores a goal, but because he's quick in picking up the puck and efficient in the puck movement, though it helps. Hopefully this will result in him getting more opportunities to prove himself to close the season. Their passes were unconnected and they struggled to create something offensive. Like a computer mouse covered in honey, it didn't just click. The Stars took first place on the board. Vitaly Kravtsov was caught watching puck below the kickoff points, and when Tyler Seguin handed Ryan Suter a perfectly weighted wooden debit card at that point, he left him in a land where there was no one like Wonder Woman. Suter made a one-shot hit, and Kravtsov wasn't close enough to get into the lane. All Kravtsov could do was reach for his stick, which was only useless to run the disc over Demko's glove. Although Kravtsov was partially wrong in the game, he was still quite unlucky. The real problem is that Kravtsov didn't make much of an impression during his time as Canuck, showing little other than his potential shine here and there. He had a 648 team low on icing, and it wouldn't be surprising to see him draw for Aidan McDonough on Sunday. Ever since he came back from injury, Thatcher Demko has been playing like a horse, which he is. It's pretty questionable to ride these games so little, especially when there's always the risk of another injury, like Luke Glendening's first period collision with Demko. It was a little frustrating to see Demko shaking his leg afterwards, but it was good. But maybe let's give Delia a few extra starts in the next 10 games. Just a thought. At the end of the first period, Nils Åman and Dakota Joshua, JT Åman aggressively pressed Jamie Benn and took the pass, making it 2v1 as Joshua hurriedly jumped to his feet. Åman got the pass to Joshua early and cleared the blocker like Jamie Collins. There was an odd delay at start of second period because Stars' star-shaped spotlights were on, giving ice a real Stars on ice feel on mid-ice, but with less triple salchow. Unable to turn them off, they decided to play with the extra lights that illuminate the neutral zone. Disappointingly, neither player stood atop one of the Stars in the opening kickoff to create an NHL 94 moment. Brock Boeser led the Canucks early in the second period. Hastily, he fed JT Miller was out, then cleverly hit the brakes like Lauren Lavoie to create a huge gap between herself and Mirohay's cannon. Miller returned the puck, and Boeser had plenty of room for a quick catch and release that barely clicked Heiskanen's stick to beat Matt Murray. Filip Hronek scores his first point as a Canuck on Boeser's goal because the NHL is so generous with his second assist. Don't get me wrong, Hronek did a great game break up a Star rush and start Boeser the other way, something we seem to see routinely from Hronek. But it's always been funny me that players get second assists while they're there. A subsequent multiple pass between two players who receive a goal, and a primary assist. For example, if this had been the KHL, Hronek would not have received an assist for this game. Rathbone extended the lead with the second goal of his NHL career. With too many bodies in net, Kuzmenko decided not to shoot. The league leader couldn't risk hurting his percentage, and instead heard Rathbone slap hard on ice and demand a pass. Rathbone beat Murray once to 3-1. The Canucks put both Filip Hronek Quinn Hughes in their first power play unit, and are flying in the face of anything that shows for forwards a defender, are by far the most effective way to manage a power play. However, given Hronek's and Hughes' quarterback, there's some sense to try it, but sticking with two defenders was surprising when the Canucks took a 5-on-3, especially since Canucks didn't use their leading power play goal scorer, Andrei Kuzmenko, in this case. Like retail cashiers after Canada phased out pennies, it didn't make sense either. Unsurprisingly, the Canucks failed to score in the 5-on-3. In fact, they have yet to score in a single 5-on-3 power game all season, one of only 4 teams to not score with a 2-man advantage. The Canucks lead the league with 14 short goals but fail to score in 5v3. Not much happened in third period, which is a tribute to the Canucks who completely shut down Stars. It's been a tedious hockey era compared to excitement of Canucks, who have consistently given up on multi-goal lead earlier in season, but it's probably favored for players and coaching team. There was one notable moment: Brock Boeser beat icing towards the end of third period. Of course, in-ice officials were against it, and had already described it as icing, but Boeser definitely won the hike, and had body position. It doesn't matter because Stars failed to capitalize on the offensive zone match, but for a man who was scolded for slipping by Canucks fanbase, it's a shame that his hustle in that game wasn't rewarded. Big Brian Burke for his excellent breakout segment at Hockey Night in Canada, where he discusses Pride nights and players and teams giving up their Pride jerseys. Burke was pointed and direct with his comments, explaining very clearly what the purpose of the jerseys was.